Reclaiming your intuition and tapping into that inner knowing is more about letting go of all the things in the way, as I've said before. So rather than teaching you how to get to that place and go straight to that place, I'm just going to teach you how to remove the blocks that are in the way, and then the rest will come, like tapping into a well. The water will all start bubbling up once you've got everything out of the way. What we're going to work on for this period of time, and I want you to sit with each of these thought distortions. I'm calling them thought distortions because they are misperceptions. They are ways of thinking about yourself. They are energies that we get stuck in that are really unhelpful, and they take us further away from that intuition. But we tend to just follow them because they're all we know. So I'm going to go through 5 thought distortions that are getting in the way of your intuition. I want you to journal and feel into their energies, call them into your consciousness. So we're bringing them out of the subconscious as just patterns that we just accept. And we're really shining a light on them. What is happening here? What is this pattern trying to teach us? What is it calling our attention to? I want you to sit with these for perhaps a week each, and you will feel into which one is your pattern, which one is closest to your heart as a cycle that you tend to fall into really easily. You might identify with all of them. We all do. They are universal. We all do these particular thought patterns. The one I'm going to start with is perfectionism. Let's start with that as an energy state. The energy of perfectionism is circular. It's a cycle, and it's based on the premise that you have to work hard for love, for acceptance, for approval. It's this striving, reaching, grasping energy. So just feel into that, how you experience that cycle. I want you to sit with, if you identify with perfectionism, is where did you learn that you had to work so hard to be loved? And perfectionism's widely misunderstood. It's not about doing things perfectly or having to do things perfectly. It's an energy state of striving, of trying, of not feeling whole, of not feeling good enough until you are insert whatever it is that you're striving for, whether you're loved, somebody gives you their attention, somebody gives you praise, you get that job, you get that qualification. It's an looking for an internal worth externally and striving for it in an external grasping way. So you see it's an outward energy. So you might like to explore how you experience that outward energy. But what this energy does, it actually invites in people, situations, relationships that give weight to that energy. It invites in emotionally unavailable people. It invites in bosses that have unrealistic expectations of you. Life will give you circumstances and people and relationships to transmute that energy. It wants you to address that thought distortion. It is a thought distortion. It's a misperception that you need to strive for love. It's going to give you situations that make you call into question that perception. So it's likely that you're going to choose partners that are emotionally unavailable, and that no matter how much you give of yourself, you don't win their approval, or it's fleeting and then they shut down again. What this energy state is asking you to do is stop giving your power away. We want to bring it internally so your worth is inherent. It is not about outside getting this approval or this love. You can transmute that energy within yourself. The way to do that is simply by bringing it into the conscious mind. We need to recognize it as a cycle, as its own energy, so we can transmute it into internal power. That's what it's asking us to do. Just call it into consciousness. I want you to remember as you work with it, this is impersonal to you. It's an energy force. This is not you. You are not flawed. And the way you've done life, if you really identify with that cycle, is not wrong. It's just been a constant invitation to transmute the energy. Our next thought distortion that I want you to work with and explore is a sense of urgency. The urgent energy, frantic, constant busyness, the hustle, the pushing, doing life out of sheer force. So just feel into that energy. You know what I mean, because it's everywhere. It's so societally accepted right now. It's encouraged. The push, the hustle. What are you doing to be out there amongst it, noticed? What this energy is asking to be transmuted into is stillness. And what has been deeply overlooked right now in society, and has always been deeply overlooked, it's the human condition, is the humility, again, the humility of stillness, of silence, of deep rest, the power of stillness. That energy of hustle, of pushing, it wants to be transformed into a deep state of flow. It's a very inconsistent energy. So what that urgency, that hustle is, it's a mismanagement of your energy. It's the distortion that you have to be all things to all people all the time. There's no laser-like focus in knowing what's for you and when it's for you. And what that energy wants is to be transformed into knowing what's for you and when it's for you, and resting in between. Resting, that deep soul rest of knowing that it will show up when it needs to, and it will show up in all its glory, because it knows that's where it needs to show up at that time. And in between is rest, joy, creativity. I don't know, there is room for those things, rather than the distortion of frantic, mismanaged, up and down energy. And those ups and downs where you're up and you're hustling and you feel really vital, you're living off fumes of guidance. Because then you crash, you go down, it's inconsistent, you've lost that connection, you think, oh, maybe that wasn't what I was supposed to be doing, you chase the next thing. What it wants you to do is tap deeply into that water source, that well, that spring, instead of just living off some drips 3 kilometers down the road from the source. Go to the source, tap into the source, and live from that deep place of knowing, that deep place of flow. Again, we'll get there. We've got to get rid of the things in the way and that urgency, the mistake to think you need to be all things to all people, show up all the time for everyone. That's a mistake. Even if you're showing up with the best of intentions, thinking you're showing up to get the next breadcrumb, the next piece of guidance, so you are outwardly looking everywhere for it, because you're not managing your energy properly, you'll be missing it. You're too split apart to have the laser-like focus to see what is in front of you. Next thought distortion. Judgment. Being judgmental. Human condition, not unique to you. It's based on the misperception that you have any control. So it's a control-based thought process because it's trying to judge to make sense of something. So you're looking externally at a situation or a person, and you're using that mind to critically think and problem solve in a judgmental way. And so that energy, if you feel into that external need to control, need to understand, it's a very rigid energy, judgment. And what happens is, as we externalize that need to understand, that need to control and make sense of something, so then we can feel empowered, that's the same energy of a bully to bully someone to get a sense of superiority. It's the same sort of energy. Again, it's just an energy state. I'm not being critical of anybody, that we all participate in this, but what's the energy under it? It's a fear-based energy, a need to understand so that we could somehow avoid that or make sense of that or not fall into that, not identify with it. And the flip side of that energy is an internalized judge, that inner critic, that we're so hard on ourselves and we're trying to control that inner world rigidly with boxed in expectations, and there's no gentleness. What that energy is asking to be transmuted into is understanding and compassion and acceptance, and even deeper, a whole perception shift on who am I to try to understand that person, that situation. That my tiny little human mind, all of our tiny little human minds, are so limited in their scope to understand why anyone does anything. So judgment becomes a pointless exercise when you shift your perception away from needing to control to an acceptance that you're never going to understand, and trying to understand why things happen, why someone does something, why they are the way they are. It's such a waste of energy. We can never understand. And you can't understand someone's dance with an energy field they're trying to work out. If you are, for example, judging a friend for staying in a relationship and it's a toxic relationship as far as you understand it, you don't understand the cosmic dance of energies that are trying to clear there. What energy is there trying to transmute, perhaps for her experience to step into her power and leave, but that's not for you to know how those energies are moving through. You can't know that. And that's okay. How freeing. I'll just stop trying then. Great. Take a second to feel into how much energy you would have left over if judgment was taken out of your life, and not through a force of will. This is not you saying, I'm not going to judge anymore. It's because deeply, from a heart-centered place, you don't need to. You've released the energy behind wanting to understand and control, because you've just surrendered into acceptance that you can't. And that feels nicer. Catastrophizing. Catastrophizing needs little elaboration. We all know catastrophizing is the worst case scenario. So always in fear-based thinking. So remember the fear-based, if it's a decision made out of fear, it's going to be attracting more fear. It's not just doomsday prepping and worst case in terms of the world is going to, everything's going to hell. Think about your low level catastrophizing. If I take that opportunity, I'll have no money, or I'll be judged, people will reject me. Catastrophizing can show up in a lot of different areas in a lot of ways. What's underpinning the tendency to catastrophize? It's anxiety, that sort of high fear, but there's also an underlying energy of just this dread. So that pit of your stomach, sort of dull dread, if you can tap into how you experience that worst case scenario thinking. The distortion, the misperception, is a deep mistrust of the universe, of even yourself. What it's asking to be transmuted into is a deep sense of trust, of faith, of knowing I can cope. Having that inner resource that no matter what the external world throws at you, illness or finance change, whatever it throws at you, I can cope. I am resourced enough within myself. I'll be okay. You explore catastrophizing in the ways it shows up in your thinking, and explore your experience in your journal. Black and white thinking. So this is all or nothing thinking, and this is based on the thought distortion, all or nothing, that there is even a right and a wrong, that there is even some sort of duality. What it's missing, what it wants to be transmuted into, is a knowing that it's actually circular, that bad can become good and good can become bad. And this desire to split things into good or bad obviously comes from the desire to control it, to understand it. But it's almost like you're too close. If you find yourself caught up in this all or nothing thinking, you're too close to the situation. What this energy wants to be transmuted into is some detachment, is into wisdom. So stepping back, you need to widen your vision here. If you get caught up in all or nothing, never, always, it wants you to step back to generate some acceptance that you can't understand why something's shown up in your life, that you're never going to understand why that's here. So let go of trying to understand why that's here and just accept that it is. See what I mean? You've got that detachment. You can get some distance. Suddenly it doesn't need to be good or bad. It just is what it is. I've given you 5 thought distortions, 5 energies to work with for the next week or 2, depending how intensely this pattern shows up in your life. Depends on how long you'll need to explore it. If this pattern, you start to look back and think it's showing up here and here and here, year after year in a variety of situations, you'll need to go quite slowly and unpack that gently, calling always clarity. Give me clarity around this energy. What is it trying to tell me? What does it want to be transmuted into? Does it want me to stop giving myself away? Does it want me to learn to step back, to widen my perception? Does it want to teach me to hold things lightly, to stop needing to understand and control so rigidly? What is the gift? Enjoy.